Carnegie Classification, committed to fostering experiences for its students that positively impact society. More at drexel.edu.
If you believe democracy requires a free press, your station is WNYC, 93.9 FM and AM 820, NPR News and the New York Conversation.
Marketplace is supported by the University of Illinois Geese College of Business, providing a fully online MBA degree that learners can earn without interrupting their careers. onlinemba.illinois.edu.
All right, that's it. I give up. You all figure it out. I mean, I'm kind of kidding, but I'm kind of not. From American Public Media, this is Marketplace.
Marketplace is supported by Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, whose scientists played a substantial role in developing more than half the cancer drugs approved by the FDA. Learn more about Dana-Farber's momentum of discovery at danafarber.org/everywhere. Data from 2018 to 2022. And by Betterment, the automated investing app that does the work, allowing people to focus on what matters most. Learn more at betterment.com. Investing involves risk. And by Condor Airlines, offering nonstop service to Frankfurt, Germany from 12 U.S. gateways, with connections in Frankfurt to many worldwide destinations. More information at condor.com. Condor welcomes you aboard.
In Los Angeles, I'm Kai Ryssdal. Thursday today, the 6th of March. Good as always to have you along, everybody. Tariffs are on. Tariffs are off. Tariffs are modified. Tariffs are coming in a month. Stop me when you have heard enough. Traders obviously have given up on trying to figure it out. All three major indices tumbled amid the chaos and confusion, even though the tariff news today is that the president's taxes on most imports from Canada and Mexico, effective as of just 2 short days ago, are off for a month. Whiplash is the economic order of the day for everybody, for sure, but most particularly for the people whose actual job it is to keep this economy going. When it comes to navigating through a trade war, this is not Jay Powell's first rodeo. Powell was new to the job in March of 2018 when first-term President Trump announced those 25% tariffs on steel and 10% on aluminum, and then the China tariffs a couple of months later. But the American economy the Fed was managing back then was very, very different than the one it's managing now. And as Marketplace's Matt Levin reports, so are the Fed's options for keeping it on track.
The obvious difference between the economies of 2018 and 2025?
I think there's 3 words. It's inflation, inflation, inflation.
Ann Owen is an economist at Hamilton College. Back in 2018, entire generations of Americans had never really had experience with high inflation. It was one of those mythical things from decades past, like print newspapers or civil political discourse. So when Trump floated his first-term tariffs, consumers and businesses didn't really expect inflation to rise above the 2% or so they were used to. Now, though, after 4 years of paying through the nose for eggs...
So if you are paying attention to any discussion about the impact of tariffs, certainly inflation is a word that you're going to be sensitive to, and that's going to influence your expectations about inflation.
Higher inflation expectations can cause higher inflation, a self-fulfilling nightmare for the Fed. Richard Clarida was Fed vice chair in 2018. He says consistently low inflation allowed the central bank to basically ignore Trump's tariffs as one-off shocks. Although those 2018 tariffs were smaller in scope.
Right now, there's a discussion about Mexico and Canada and potentially on the Eurozone and reciprocal tariffs. And so the menu of possible tariff options is vastly longer.
On the other side of the Fed's dual mandate, full employment, the 2018 and 2025 economies look similarly strong, with unemployment around 4%. But over the past few months, payroll and GDP numbers show signs of a slowdown. Stephanie Aliaga at JP Morgan Asset Management says this time around, tariffs are hitting an economy that's losing momentum.
The economy the 2025 Fed's trying to steer is a far more fragile economy than the one that they encountered in 2019. And given the risks with inflation and growth, it puts the Fed in a really tricky spot.
Either keep rates high to fight the inflationary impact of tariffs and risk recession, or lower rates and risk more inflation? I'm Matt Levin for Marketplace.
Let's do the numbers. Yeah, the Wawas again. I think that's like 3 days out of 4, right? Dow Industrial's off 427 points, about 1%, 42,579. NASDAQ plunged 483 points, 2.6%, 18,069. The S&P 500 down 104, 1.8%, 57 and 38. Remains to be seen what the back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth on trade will mean for retail prices, but we're guessing it's not going to be great. Walmart down 1.4% today. Dollar General went up 3.4%. Target off by 2 2/10% today. Costco, which reported earnings after the bell, was down 2% during the session, another 1.25% after hours. Missed analyst expectations, which is never good. Bonds down, yield on the 10-year T-note rose 4.28%. You're listening to Marketplace.
The Numbers is supported by Odoo.com, your entire business on one platform. Marketplace is supported by Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort, offering a small ship experience with a shore excursion included in every port and onboard cultural enrichment. Discover more at Viking.com. And by Raymond James, a firm focused on transforming lives, businesses, and communities through tailored wealth management, banking, and capital markets solutions. Disclosures at RaymondJames.com. And by Progressive Insurance, providing direct car insurance rates side by side with other insurance carriers. Customers can see rates and find an option that works for their needs. Now, that's Progressive. Learn more at Progressive.com.
Okay, so during this fundraiser, you've heard a lot of polite talk about financial pressure. We've mentioned inflation and trends in the news biz that make your contribution more important than ever. And it's all true. But the reality of our situation right now may call for a little less gentle persuasion, a little more urgency. Because the fact is, public media is in a fight for its survival. Complicated, fact-based reporting requires money. I wish I could just politely ask you to consider becoming a supporter. But right now, if you value WNYC, I'm pointedly asking that you become its protector. Be one of the listeners who keeps public radio alive and safe for you, your community, and for all New York. Of course, I mean it when I say please and thank you. But I really mean it when I say, do it now. And here's how.
Call 888-376-9692. You can also go online to WNYC.org and click on Donate. You know, one of the interesting things, and we've been kind of joking about this throughout the day here during our pledge drive, is that, the world being what it is, it's not often that I feel like in media we're like celebrating things and we're excited about things and we're saying, oh man, things are going really well or whatever. But you know what? The outpouring that we've gotten during this drive has been so heartening to see, and it's been so uplifting, and it's been so reaffirming that I'm excited to talk to you about this pledge drive. I'm excited to talk to you about the message of this drive, which, while yes, it's serious. Yes, it is urgent. It's a different message than what you've heard in other pledge drives. It's really inspiring to see the outpouring of support that we've gotten during this pledge drive. So I just want to say thank you if you've already contributed. If you haven't yet, I'm going to lay this on you again. The message of this drive is that ultimately the federal funding that we get out of Washington is under threat. That's it. We do rely to a certain extent on funds out of Washington to keep this going. Stations across the country do, in fact. That's a part of the funding model. But listener support remains the largest source of that funding. So what we're asking that you do in this moment is step up and protect public media in your community. It's a very simple message, but an urgent one. And we're hoping that you respond to that call and heed that call to contribute right now. 888-376-9692 or WNYC.org.
One of the most amazing and awe-inspiring things about our community of public listeners is that when we need you, you're there for us. Mm-hmm. We started this drive by asking 5,000 of you to become sustaining members, and that was just a few days ago. And you know what? We hit that goal today. We already hit that goal. So we are redoubling our efforts and saying, you know what? We need another 5,000. It's an incredible vote of confidence in listener-supported public media. Can you maybe be one of them? We just need another 5,000. And you know what? If we got that 5,000, we might keep going, because the more people we get to become sustaining members, the more nimble we are as a station, the more we can plan to do deep investigative reporting while also being flexible enough to respond to breaking news, the more conversations we can have on all of it and Brian Lehrer, the more deep dives on the media can do. And Radiolab can do stories about how birds migrate using the word quantum something and magnetic things. We can't do it without you. We're there for you, and now we're asking you to be there for us, and you are answering the call. Please join us. 888-376-9692 or WNYC.org.
In New York City, we may not have a lot of driveways, but thanks to WNYC, we still have a lot of driveway moments. Of course, if we're sitting in a car waiting for a compelling story to end, it's probably an alternate side parking moment. Actually, this is New York, so forget the car. Chances are it's more of a subway platform moment, or a treadmill moment, or a stoop moment. Whatever you call it, it's what WNYC specializes in, stopping us in our tracks. And with your help, WNYC can create more moments that hit your pause button. Support WNYC with a contribution. Here's how.
Call 888-376-9692. You can also go online to WNYC.org and click on donate. Thank you so much for your support. Just want to give a quick plug to this super cool t-shirt we've been talking about. It's Blueprint Blue. It shows the blueprint of the original WNYC transmitter, which is now Transmitter Park in Greenpoint, Brooklyn. It's a really cool shirt. Check it out at WNYC.org. Become a sustaining member at $12 a month, and we'll happily send that to you. WNYC.org or 888-376-9692. Most importantly, thank you.
This is Marketplace. I'm Kai Ryssdal. We started a new series this year called The Age of Work, about how the biggest wave of retirements that this country has ever seen are going to change the economy here and abroad. Prime age workers, people between 25 and 54 years old, have been a smaller and smaller share of the American labor force since the 1990s. And as a result, compared to the rest of the world, the United States has fewer and fewer workers supporting the economy. Our first stop in the series was Cumberland County, Tennessee, where 1 out of every 3 people is 65 or older. But among the golf courses, and the quilt shops, and the other businesses aimed at that county's many retirees, we did find an outlier.
Several of us came out of Uber Elevate knowing what we needed to achieve as goals and developed a whole new method of distributed electric propulsion that is focused on ultra-quiet and ultra-high efficiency.
Mark Moore is the founder and CEO of Whisper Aero. They're trying to make thrusters for electric airplanes and drones quieter. Mark worked at NASA for 34 years, then ran engineering at Uber's electric aviation division. In July 2020, he started his own company, Whisper Aero. As it happens, he was on vacation the days that we were in town, his first vacation, by the way, since starting the company, so we got him on Zoom. I'm sorry we're going to miss you in person.
I'm bummed too, because I'm so excited that you're doing a story about Crossville. It's a very cool place and a lot of things are happening.
Crossville is the county seat, population 13,000 or so. So it was an easy first question for this former NASA engineer running a tech startup. Cumberland County, Tennessee, how did that come to be?
Well, in the last year that I was at Uber Elevate, I was doing a lot of traveling, and COVID was just starting to rear up, and happened to be in Tennessee, and I saw this resort on a gorgeous lake right by the airport that was in foreclosure. And I'm like, man, that would be a really cool place to start the company. And so I bought it, turned those Uber shares into a resort, and all the engineers just moved in and we started Whisper Aero.
Sorry, like a resort?
A resort, yep. So 40,000 square feet on 16 acres with about 2,000 feet of lakefront on the most gorgeous Clearwater Lake. And on the other side is the local Crossville Airport, where we have our flight test operations.
So the pitch is come live in a resort in Cumberland and do, new technology in aviation?
Yes. And I can tell you, for the first engineers, they were like, you think I'm going to move to rural Tennessee? Forget that.
Right.
And we say, just come visit. And they'd come to the resort and they'd go, oh my gosh, this is paradise. And they'd bring their kids and wives and dogs. And for the first 2 years of the company, there was a big risk where we could have ended up hating each other by living, working, and playing in such close proximity. But it was amazing, especially during COVID.
While a lot of other companies moved to Zoom, this one had its own quarantine bubble, which Mark bought for $1.1 million, comparable, you should know, to the median single home price in San Francisco.
We were sequestered out in the boonies. And I say that lovingly for Crossville.
We'll get to Crossville in a second, but much as COVID, as it started to wane, the stresses got to all of us. And, I love my family, but I didn't want to be with them forever. I can't imagine that there weren't some stresses that led you guys then to say, look, we got to figure out a new way to do this.
Actually, it was hiring in many more people. So, from that original 8, which quickly grew to 12. Now we're at 56 plus 20 contractors, and we outgrew the facility to do the advanced manufacturing that we do.
Mark says an average engineer at Whisper Aero makes more than 4 times Cumberland County's median wage, not including equity and bonuses. So once we got to Crossville, I went to see the company's new headquarters in a brick building downtown since they've outgrown that lakeside resort. This is about as nondescript as they come. I mean, I wasn't even sure we'd found the right door. It was. Okay. Yeah, you go first. I'm not going first. We walked down a long, kind of dark hallway into a not yet fully built out office space. So wait, did we interrupt lunch? I'm really sorry. We can come back in like 10. Where they keep their technology under lock and key.
The iPad requires your phone number.
All right.
Then you'll sign our standard NDA, which is just stating you will not share anything that you see here.
All right. Except on the radio, but other than that.
Right. Yeah, of course. Things that have already been shared, right? Everything else we'll just assume is a secret.
That's probably not a great assumption to make. Who's my host?
We'll say John.
Yeah, so John Huff.
John Huff.
John Huff's been at Whisper Aero about a year. He's the head of testing. Also today, our tour guide.
Yeah, so Louis has his assembly stations here.
There were engineers working at computers, some poking at fan blades in a pristine manufacturing space.
Next to it, we have where we're prototyping some parts.
Also, test machines.
It looks like some kind of weird concept art.
It kind of does.
Just sort of a new age flower or something like that.
It had a spot for the engines that Whisper makes on one side, and then a structure almost like a sea coral on the other with egg-sized round things all over it.
It's a beam-forming array, or some people call it an acoustic camera. And so each one of these balls has a microphone under it. This is just a windscreen.
The engine turns on, 116 microphones capture the sound coming out of it.
And so what you end up with is a sound map, like a color image or like a thermal image, if you will, of the acoustics.
Remember, this is a tech company focused on making stuff quieter. John showed me an electric leaf blower they made as a sort of proof of concept of their Whisper technology. All right, so it's audible. You know what it is? It's a little higher pitch, right? There's a little...
Right, and that's a big part of the fan design.
Idea being, that same technology could be used for a drone or electric airplane, too. Please don't take offense at this. I thought it would be quieter.
What's the expectation, right? I mean...
Well, my expectation was a whisper. That was my expectation.
I know.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
It's a medium whisper.
Well, right. Okay, that's fair.
Not a secret
that's fair.
whisper.
That's fair. Along the way, as John was showing us around, we met people who'd moved to Crossville from big cities to work there.
Seattle. So I used to work for Amazon. And so came from Seattle maybe about 3 years ago.
And we met local Crossvillians taking advantage of this new hometown opportunity. Where'd you come from?
Crossville. I'm from here.
That's Ace Hawkins, manufacturing technician. Graduated from technical college about a year ago. Worked at a car dealership before coming here. How old are you?
20.
20.
Yes, sir.
None of my business, but you making a good living for a 20-year-old here in Crossville?
Yes, I am. In Crossville, yes, I am.
You got spare change? You got enough disposable income?
Yes, sir.
How long you think without your boss being standing right here? How long you think you're going to be here?
I'd say we got about 5 years.
All right. And then where do you go from here, right? Because you'll have good like high-tech manufacturing background. Then what?
We'll see. I haven't thought about it that much yet, but we'll see.
Fair enough. Thanks, Ace.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Yep.
Younger, skilled workers like Ace are critical for growing companies like Whisper Aero if they can keep them around. What else haven't I asked you, John? What's the most important thing?
Do you know any test engineers interested in moving to Crossville?
I do not.
Oh, okay.
Not. For this high-tech company in a small Tennessee town, labor force is top of mind. So I put that question to Mark Moore, Whisper Aero's CEO. Talk to me now about the recruiting challenge that you're having as you grow and as you scale. You're going to have to recruit many more people to come to Crossville, yeah?
Well, and I want to be completely honest about this because, look, small town living is not for everyone. I love it. But we have a lot of single engineers who are, PhDs from Stanford and MIT. And frankly, the dating life in Crossville was not too exciting for them. And so for the single guys and gals, we actually had to open up a Nashville, Tennessee office, a satellite office, where those engineers could have a more exciting dating life, nightlife. It's about an hour and a half away between the two offices, but it really works well to give employees the maximum choice and be able to fit to diverse needs.
Mark Moore and his company are invested in Crossville. They've worked out a partnership with Tennessee Tech University to build an incubator here in town. And Mark has actually done some work with the city to help him raise money for a new sports complex. The whole time we were in Cumberland County, we talked about how changing demographics created both opportunities and challenges for that community. Whisper Aero is an example of one opportunity for the county to expand its economy and give young people more reason to stay. At the same time, though, people moving into a place with high-tech wages can and does change things for the people already there. You can find all of our stories from Cumberland County in our Age of Work series. It is, of course, at marketplace.org.
Marketplace is supported by Baird. Baird strives to attract and retain top financial professionals, providing stability and continuity of advice for clients across market environments. More information at BairdDifference.com. And by Bank of America. From local shops to global enterprises, Bank of America is committed to helping businesses of all sizes make every move matter. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/banking for business.
This final note on the way out today, which I offer for, no reason, just some vocabulary that might be useful in the near future. A particular Wall Street index or commodity or a stock is said to be in a correction when it falls more than 10% from its most recent high, as in the NASDAQ is now in correction, off 10.4% from its high this past December. That's true, by the way, that sentence. Should you be curious, a bear market is a decline of 20%. John Buckley, John Gordon, Noya Cardayat Parker, Amanda Peacher, and Stephanie Seek are the Marketplace editing staff. Amir Bibawi is the managing editor. I'm Kai Risdal. We will see you tomorrow, everybody. This is APM.